let's begin the third session. We will begin the third session, which includes two presentations. The first presenter is Qilin Tian, who will be discussing an interface approach to island constraints. Please welcome him.
How to show my handout? You can use this. Good afternoon. Because I have no such experience in to stay in this international conference, so because I lack such experience, I failed to prepare the PowerPoint. I hope that I can make myself clear, make my point clear. I just use my handout. Okay. The topic of my presentation is interface approach to element constraint. I want to show that we can use living theory to account for all strong elements and offer a fresh perspective on the nature of element constraint. And I also want to show that my assumptions can explain exceptionally stretching out of elements as well as their cross-linguistic differences. First, let's have a brief look at the background information. We know that there are some contexts from which a constituent cannot be extracted, and these contexts are called elements. Many hypotheses have been proposed to explain them, including the substitution constraint and CED. We know that these hypotheses rely on government that has no conceptual necessity. In the area of minimalist program, many efforts have also been made to attribute element to element constraint on various syntactic operations such as merge, or constraint on syntactic derivations such as the labeling proof to empty locality, or PIC. Although these proposals are, that they are very ingenious, they still have weakness. For example, empirically, all these proposals predict that element cannot be validated. However, such kind of counterexamples can be found in almost every language, as can be seen in these examples. Since there are exceptions, some scholars try to focus on one specific element, such as Braun 27. He examined adjunct elements, arguing that only adjuncts were in a position lower than V are porous, because this kind of element can be commanded by the head of V and establish agreement. However, this cannot explain the fact below. As you can see that different answers to the question can affect the acceptability of the question. So it appears that context or programmatic information can affect the acceptability or extraction out of the adjunct element. Okay, now let's have a detailed look or examination of a specific research, that is the research of musicology, on which this methodology is based. He tried to provide a uniform account of element constraint using Chomsky's living theory. His main hypotheses are as follows. First, timing of labeling. That is, when the head and the phrase are merged, the head provides a label for the derived structure immediately. And when two phrases are merged, the derived structure will not be labeled until the phase is sent to the interface. That is the first hypothesis. And the second hypothesis is anti-locality. That is, movement of A targeting B must cross a projection distinct from B. That is, he defined anti-locality based on labeling. Now let's see his explanation of the element. Let's see example 7. If who is to move out of the subject, it must first move to the edge of the subject, which make the subject phrase and TP unlabeled because they are, before they are spelled out, they consist of two phrases. And the label structure is labeled as the question marker, as shown in 8. When who move to the move to merge with target C, it only cross the labeled node C, as can be seen in example 9. Therefore, such kind of movement valid anti-locality condition. I think this hypothesis has a lot of problems. First, in accordance with this hypothesis, is the analysis, if a sentence violates the anti-locality condition will not be acceptable, as can be seen in 10A and 11A. However, when the structure containing the complex element is elided, such a kind of movement becomes acceptable, as can be seen in 10B and 11B. A lot of evidence suggests that the remnants in ellipses are derived by movement. Since anti-locality condition is a syntactic constraint, any movement that violates this condition should be prohibited. Consequently, which should not be able to move out of the complex in the element. And let's say if 10 is ungrammatical because the movement violates the syntactic constraint, it should not be salvaged by ellipsis. The second problem is that this analysis cannot account for the issues related to exceptional extraction out of adjunct. For example, who did you go there to discuss? I think this is an exceptional extraction out of element, and his assumption cannot explain this kind of exceptional extraction. And the last problem, I think, is his definition of anti-locality is a stipulation. And I think it is stipulation. We have to explain why root of A targeting B must cross a distinction, projection distinct from B. It's a stipulation. I think although his hypothesis has problem, it has advantages. What I want to do is to extend his hypothesis and try to explain element based on his assumption. First, I think we can extend his timing of labeling hypothesis. That is, when two constituents are merged, the derived structure will be labeled as early as possible. This principle, I think, can be called earliness principle of labeling, which is reflection of the economy of syntax derivation. This principle can be manifest in two ways. First, when the strong head merge with the phrase, it will label immediately. This hypothesis is the same as that of musicology. And next one is my extension of his hypothesis. That is, when two phrases are merged, once a situation similar to I arises, the labeling algorithm can be applied before the structure is spelled out. Specifically, suppose that two phrases are merged. If one phrase cannot label temporarily during the derivational process, while the other can, and the head of the phrase that can label agree with the other one. This situation measures the case where a head merges with the phrase. As you can see, the head can label, but the phrase cannot. And the head C-select or category select the phrase. Because of this similarity, I think once such a structure is formed, the labeling algorithm can be applied immediately. My proposal, I think, is a variant of that of musicology. I think this example 15 can demonstrate their similarity. The head H can provide label to its mother node, and the QP, the maximum phrase, cannot. And here is a head can provide label for its mother node, and this phrase cannot provide further labels to its mother node. So you can see that they are very similar. And my second hypothesis is, I think, a new definition of anti-locality can be advanced. My new definition of anti-locality is this: a constituent cannot cross two unlabeled nodes successfully. I think this condition follows from the third factor constraint, because Houston proposed that the distance is computed based on syntactic nodes. Based on the assumption above, I argue that Allen constraint arises because to avoid violating the syntactic constraint, a head is forced to provide a label for its mother node with the help of Qilin principle, whether the head it provides is appropriate or not. If the head is unable to provide the label for its mother node, the label cannot be interpreted at the interface, and then the structure will be acceptable because there will be a labeling, because there is an interpretation problem at the interface. Okay, and now I want to use my hypothesis to explain the strong elements. Now first let's see the subject elements. Let's take example 17. Let's see example 17. After what moved to the stack CP, the phrase in the subject position cannot be labeled because you can see that it consists of two phrases. And after this phrase, on this phrase merge with TP, we can see the direct structure cannot be labeled either because the direct structure consists of 2P, two maximum projection 2. And if what moved from this position to the stack CP, then the movement will violate distinct condition because it moved across two unlabeled nodes. See, it appears that my assumption cannot explain the subject. It appears that my account of the subject element is the same as that of musicology. So my assumption here has the same problem. I think there's one point that I neglect. That is, when the derivation arrives at this point, the earliness principle of labeling will take effect. That is, you can see T agree with the subject, and then T will try to provide a label for its mother node, as you can see here. T will try to provide a label for the whole structure. The whole structure will be integrated at T. So after, when what move to stack TP, it will cross a label T, and then the distinguished condition will not be validated. But this structure is unacceptable because T is not a strong head. It cannot provide a label, and at the interface, the label T cannot be interpreted. this will lead to an acceptability. Now I can explain the airline repair phenomena and the ellipsis. The complete form of 20 should be 21, you can see. Which one move out of the subject element, it will not violate the syntax constraint because T will try to provide a label and the movement cross T will not violate the distinct condition. But as I said just now, it will force T to provide a label and T cannot be interpreted. But if the label and interpretable T, if the label T is elided before spell out, at the interface there will be no improper label, and then there will be no problem at the interface. Okay, I think I can explain the exceptional extraction out of subject island as shown in example 22. A lot of scholars discovered that in many subject in situ languages, the subject element can be validated. Okay, assume that a lot of scholars have explained this phenomenon. Assume that their analysis is reasonable. The process where an element moves out of a syntactical subject can be outlined as shown in 23. That is, when the derivation process reaches this stage, V will try to provide a label for its mother node because V agrees with the subject. And then the phrase XP, when the phrase XP moves out of the subject to the higher position, it will not violate the distinctness condition. I think based on the argument above, we can infer that if T is a strong hat, extraction of a phrase from stack TP should be allowed because such extraction does not violate the distinctness condition as shown in 24. But this prediction is confirmed by the Eastern Asian languages like Chinese and Korean. As you can see, in Chinese and in Korean and Japanese, the subject element can be validated firmly. I think alternative hypothesis analysis can be proposed to analyze the phenomenon here. You can see of which car did the driver cause scandal. That is acceptable. But if there is a phrase between the subject and the C, such kind of expression become more acceptable. I think I can try to explain it with my assumption. This example suggests that the adjacency between C and the T prevent the extraction of a phrase from the subject. In this scenario, C and the T are treated as a single constituent, with C functioning as a copy of T. And T is, we know that T has EPP feature and interpretable phi feature, which make it a weak hat. And you know that when T is a weak hat and it provides a label, the label cannot be interpreted as interface. That is why subject elements will in fact arises. However, when T and C are separated by the intervening hat, as described by 28, when they are separated, I think T will not. When they are separated, the composite hat CT cannot be formed. I should thank for that part to give me such kind of information. When such a kind of composite hat cannot be formed, T will not be endowed with the attributable phi feature, and then T will be a strong hat. In such a case, the hat that T provides will be interpretable at the interface. That is why such a kind of expression is acceptable. That is the subject element. Now let's see the complex MP element. This is an example. When what move from the complex MP phrase, let's consider 28. It should be derived as follows. First, what move to spec CP, rendering the pair structure temporarily unlabeled. You can see in 30, example 30. Here it consists of two phrases. One is what, the other is CP, so the structure cannot be labeled. And subsequently, the entire structure merges with the nominal root rumor. You know that MP cannot be assigned a literal because the head of the mother, because MP merged with D will not assign a literal to MP. So MP should be a face. And then what should move to the edge of this face. To enable this movement to circumvent to the distinct condition, the root rumor should try to provide a label for its mother node. The moment it merged with CP, as can be seen here. Here, the nominal root rumor provides a label to its mother node. And after that, what can move across this node without violating the distinguished condition. This structure is acceptable because lexical root is weak and it has no category feature, so it cannot be interpreted at the interface. And this sentence is acceptable. It seems to be a counterexample to my hypothesis. You know that the V lexical root V is a lexical root. It should be weak too, but we can extract the complement of V to the spec CP. I think this is not a counterexample. As argued by Ashton et al., when the word selects a clause as its complement, it first pair merge with the V, and the derived complex head merge with this clause. Building on Ashton et al., I assume that the embedded clause in 32 merge with the amalgam VThink, as can be seen in 33. When what move to the edge of this complex head, it should cross this node, and then the distinguished condition will not be validated. Just pass it. I think a speculative account can also be provided for the contrast shown in 38A and 38B. Can see 38A is acceptable. 38B is not acceptable. I think my hypothesis can reinterpret this kind of fact. Based on Baker 18H, it can be argued that the head of the MP, that is the rumor, undergoes non-incorporation with the head of V, which render the definite effects of the nominal phrase disappear. In the phonological system, the lower copy of the movement head gets pronounced. After incorporation, the C selection feature matching between V and the rumor make the latter strong. At the interface, the form copy operation establish a copy relationship between the copies of the rumor, and then the lower copy of the rumor can be interpreted. Okay, I just have a brief look at my explanation of adjunct element. Okay, now let's look at this. What was she angry after he bought? I think this can be explained this way. Since CP is a face, what should first move to the edge of CP using a label structure, and the whole structure worked with the VP, forming another label structure, as shown in photo. If what move to the spec position of the matrix clause, it will move across to a label node. This is, I think, the process where the earliest principle of living is ignored. If we take the earliest principle of living into account, the derivation should be good in this way. When such a structure is derived, V here, V should try to provide a label for its mother node, and then the movement of what will not violate the distinct condition. But the structure is unacceptable. What is the reason? I think one point is neglected. That is, if a head tries to provide a label for its mother node based on earliest principle, the head should have certain selectional relationship with the other projection. In this structure, V has no selectional relationship or agreement relationship with the adjunct, so the structure is unacceptable. That is, V cannot provide a listed label for its mother node. And this sentence is grammatical because there is a special relationship between V and the adjunct. This kind of relation is formulated as a single event group cognition proposed by Truswell. According to Zhejiang, this kind of agreement can be considered as adjunct agreement between the head V and the adjunct in SBAT. Okay, I think that is the reason. Okay, pass base. Now let's see another phenomenon. Some people will say that there are many counter-examples or challenges to my distinct condition. This is one specific example. What did John hide upon receiving the warning yesterday? In this sentence, V has two adjuncts. As I proposed just now, when two phrases are merged, the mother node cannot be labeled. It appears that the movement of what across two label nodes. So it seems that the distinct condition is violated. The sentence should be ungrammatical, but it turned out to be not right. I think this is not a challenge because Chinqui 1999 argued that the adjunct should be merged in the spare position of functional head, and the head can be split into several functional heads, just like SBAT can be split into several functional heads to accommodate adverb. Along this line, we can say that the sentence should be derived this way. There are a lot of small b here, so the movement of what will not cross to another node successfully. Okay, that's my proposal. I think my hypothesis can explain the complex NP element, subject element, and adjunct element uniformly based on Boskowski. I propose that distinct condition which require that a constituent cannot move across to an labeled node